My name is Kanipa with Macwa, Standing Bear, Soda Tribe, Fishing Lake, First Nation, Saskatchewan, Canada, Treaty 4 Territory, Anishinaabe, 60 Scoop Survivor. And people ask me about this land back movement and sovereignty and all that. And I think that's a good idea. I think land back is a really good. I think it's a terrific concept. I think sovereignty. That's a beautiful concept too. And people ask me about my personal thoughts are. Personal thoughts are land back isn't a movement. Land back is a way of life. Sovereignty isn't a movement. Sovereignty is a way of life. It doesn't matter what the colonial governments, if they give us a piece of paper saying we have our land back, that doesn't do us any good. It is our personal connection to the land. And personal, land back begins right here, right now, with your next prayer. The old one said everything begins with prayer. If it doesn't begin with spirit, then it doesn't begin. If it doesn't begin with prayer, then it doesn't begin. And this is non-negotiable. Land back isn't a movement, it's a way of life. It's a way of life that begins with prayers and stay with prayer. We don't ever leave the prayer. So we don't start over there in the front lines. Land back has to start right here. Land back has to start with sitting with the medicines, tobacco pouch, the medicines. Land back, we're not in the results business. We're in the connection business. And it doesn't matter, land back doesn't begin with what the colonial governments do. It begins with what we do, the prayers that we walk with. That means go back to the elders, go back to Mother Earth, go back to those things that bring us the power. And then if you want to go to a front line, go to a front line. But don't go to a front line first. Sit with the land, sit with the water, sit with the season, sit with the sunrise. That's where land back starts. That's where sovereignty starts. Land back begins with like all other prayers, it begins with humility. If it doesn't begin with humility, then it doesn't begin. It turns into something else, and it's probably a lot closer to what those colonials. So what? They give us a piece of paper. So what? Like if we don't have any connection to the land, we're no better than they are. Sit with the elders. Listen to their stories. That is land back. If you're tribal, pick up your language. That is land back. It's not the language of the people. It's the language of connection. Prayer is a language of connection. Spring is a language of connection. The summer rains are a language of connection. Spirit begins right here. The prayer begins right here. The prayer stays right here. If it doesn't go there, then it won't go anywhere. It doesn't matter how many frontline workers we have on the front line. If none of them are connected to the land, then what's the point? I know a lot of frontline workers never been to ceremony, and that's really sad. They're not activists, they're angry. There's a difference. And angry people, they come from this colonial world. Who needs some more angry people? Nobody does. We need We need the men and women, children, the old ones to go back to the land. That's Landback. Like the namesake. Let's not change what it is. Let's start something new. Let's start with a sacred offering saying thank you. Let's start with a prayer at sunrise facing east and saying thank you. Let's start with being good relatives, building good relations. That's Landback. Accepting each other as who we are, that's Landback. One raindrop doesn't judge another. That's Landback. Sitting with the grandmothers, that's Landback. Helping the old ones, that's Landback. Staying sober, that's Landback. So let's be really clear here. You know, any movement that doesn't begin with prayer is not a movement, it's something else. If it doesn't begin with spirit, then it's something else. The only way to be successful, and what I mean by successful isn't a colonial version, isn't winning in court. It's keeping Mother Earth right here. It's keeping those prayers right here, and nothing else. My name is Kamipu Makwa, and if no one said that, they love you today. I love you very much.